Let me tell you about a force, a current that moves you. It's the pull toward a warm meal on a cold night, the magnetic draw to a loved one's voice, the deep satisfaction of a problem solved, a skill mastered. This is desire. And it is not your enemy. It is your oldest ally, a biological guidance system etched into the very core of your brain over millions of years of survival. At the heart of this system is a chemical, dopamine. It is not the chemical of pleasure, as many believe. It is the chemical of anticipation, of seeking. It is the signal that fires when you are on the hunt, when a clue emerges from the darkness, when the scent of the target is in the air. This is the dopaminergic pathway, the brain's reward circuit. It is a narrow, ancient pathway, and it has one primal function: to motivate you to pursue what you need to survive and thrive. Food, water, connection, knowledge. When you achieve these things, the circuit is satisfied, you feel a moment of completion, and then the hunt begins anew. It is a clean, purposeful loop. But now, consider the world you live in, a world not of scarcity, but of overwhelming abundance, not of natural signals, but of engineered ones. The science of desire has been studied, mapped, and then weaponized. That vibration in your pocket when you receive a like or a message, it is a perfectly crafted signal designed to trigger that ancient dopamine pathway. It is a supernormal stimulus, an artificial reward that is more potent, more frequent, and more predictable than anything nature ever provided. The slot machine's lever, the infinite scroll of a social media feed, the autoplay of the next video. These are not accidents. They are precision-engineered dopamine delivery systems. They mimic the structure of the hunt, the variable reward schedule, without ever providing the true sustenance of the kill. Every notification is a false predator, making you jump. Every recommended for you is a trail of breadcrumbs leading you deeper into a labyrinth not of your own design. They have taken the neurological machinery meant for finding berries in a forest or tracking prey across a plain, and they have pointed it at a screen. They bombard that narrow, ancient pathway with a frequency and intensity it was never evolved to handle. The result is not satisfaction. It is craving. The loop is hijacked. You are stuck in a state of perpetual seeking, triggered not by a genuine need of the body or the spirit, but by an algorithm's cold calculation. The hunt no longer ends with nourishment. It ends only with exhaustion or distraction, before a new trigger pulls you back in. This is the first fundamental twist. They have not created new desires. They have parasitized your oldest ones. They have wired your own survival instincts against you, turning the engine of your motivation into a cage of endless, fruitless pursuit. They turned the bat signal into a siren's call, and they made you wear the receiver. Think about the moment you pick up your phone. You believe it is a choice. You feel a want, you reach, you unlock. It feels like agency. It feels like control. But I have spent a lifetime studying the stages of coercion, and I tell you now, what feels like your free will in that moment is often the end result of a meticulously crafted performance, an architectural sleight of hand designed to make the cage feel like a playground. This is the second, more insidious twist. They do not just hijack the engine of your desire. They build the entire road, and they design every curve, every sign, every off-ramp to ensure you never truly think about leaving. They create an illusion of control so persuasive, you defend it as your own. It is a magic trick performed on the mind. Consider the very structure of the world in your palm, the pull to refresh mechanism. You pull down, you release, and new information floods in. This is a classic variable reward lever, identical to a slot machine. You perform the action, but the outcome is uncertain. A like, a comment, news. The uncertainty is the hook. Your own finger becomes the lever you pull over and over, convinced you are in command of the flow of information. You are not. You are a rat in a gleaming high-tech Skinner box pressing the bar you were given. Then there is the scroll, the infinite feed, a bottomless well. There is no natural stopping point, no door, no the end. In a book, you feel the pages grow thin in your right hand. You sense the conclusion approaching. It allows for reflection, for closure. The infinite scroll abolishes this. It removes all friction, all natural boundaries. Your decision to stop is no longer prompted by the structure of the thing itself, but must be generated solely from your own overtaxed willpower, fighting against a current specifically engineered to be endless. It is a marathon with no finish line, designed to make you feel like a quitter for needing to breathe. And the autoplay. The next episode, the next video starts in 3, 2, 1. They have studied the moment of decision, that brief, quiet space where you might ask yourself, is this what I truly want? Am I done? And they have filled it. They have surgically removed the pause, the space for consciousness to intervene. The path of least resistance, to continue, is paved for you in neon lights. To choose otherwise requires an active, effortful negation. They make resistance the harder choice. These are not neutral features. They are dark patterns, interface, designs that deliberately trick, manipulate, and coerce. The subtle, glowing notification dot that you cannot ignore. The confirm shaming pop-up that says, no, I'd rather be uninformed when you try to decline a newsletter. The privacy settings buried under 6 menus, designed for fatigue, not clarity. Each one is a tiny brick in the wall, each one a psychological nudge that bypasses your conscious reasoning and appeals directly to the hijacked reward system, or to social anxiety, or to laziness. They call this user experience design. But when the experience is designed to erode the user's autonomy, to keep them engaged at all costs, what is being designed is not an experience, it is a regimen. You are not making choices. You are following a script written in a language of dopamine and frictionless flow, a script that makes you believe you are the author. The greatest trick the architect ever pulled was convincing the occupant they built the house. You are not in control. You are being given the sensation of control, so you do not question who truly holds the reins. They built the maze, and they let you think you're drawing the map. This brings us to the core of the deception. They have made you believe you are the user, that these platforms, these feeds, these worlds are tools for you, services provided for your benefit. This is the fundamental lie. You are not the user, you are the resource being extracted. You are not the customer, you are the product on the assembly line. Your attention, your time, and most insidiously, your predictable behavior are the raw materials in a new form of industrial scale harvesting. Consider what is truly being traded. You pay no money, yet vast fortunes are made. Towers of glass and steel are built. How? The currency is you. Every minute of your engagement is a unit of inventory. Every click is a signal. Every pause, every scroll velocity, every like, every shudder of laughter or flicker of anger, it is all captured, quantified, and cataloged. EY do not sell you a product. They sell access to you, to the highest bidder, advertisers, data brokers, political operatives. You are the cattle, and your moments of consciousness are the commodity being auctioned in real time. This is the commodification of human experience. Your desire, once a sacred internal compass pointing toward survival and meaning, has been transmuted into a data point. Your loneliness becomes a trigger for a dating app ad. Your anxiety about the news becomes a reason to keep you scrolling through outrage. Your nostalgia for a song becomes a prompt for a curated playlist that keeps you on the platform. Your very emotions are not experiences to be felt. They are behavioral indicators to be logged and exploited. They have turned the soul's weather into a forecast for profit. And it is a profoundly efficient system. Why? Because they have made you a willing, even eager participant in your own harvest. You are not chained to a machine. You carry the factory in your pocket. You polish its interface with your thumbs. You fuel its algorithms with your laughter, your tears, your arguments, your searches. You feed it the data of your life, and it gives you back a distorted reflection, a funhouse mirror designed to keep you feeding. It is a closed loop, a self-perpetuating engine. Your desire for connection keeps you on the social platform, where your engagement is sold. Your desire for distraction keeps you on the streaming service, where your viewing habits become a profile to be monetized. The loop is so seamless, you forget you are the fuel. This changes the entire purpose of the architecture we spoke of. The infinite scroll, the autoplay, the notifications, these are not just tools of engagement. They are extraction mechanisms. They are the pumps and drills of a mine, and you are the mine. The more they can keep you in a state of passive dopamine, in-chased consumption, the more raw material they can extract. Your time is not just spent, it is purchased from you, with the cheap currency of fleeting entertainment and micro-validation, and then resold at a monumental markup. You believe you are browsing. You are being browsed. You think you are searching for something. You are what is being searched for, your patterns and predilections laid bare on an examiner's slab. Your life is no longer simply lived. It is logged, indexed, and packaged. Your humanity is reduced to a data set, your free will to a series of predictable impulses in a grand, invisible marketplace. They didn't just steal your attention, they built a stock exchange for it, and you're the commodity being traded. But a mind can be exhausted, a resource depleted, and a passive audience can simply walk away. So, a more diabolical mechanism had to be engineered. They could not simply harvest what you naturally gave. They had to ensure you would always need to give more. They had to create the scarcity, the itch, that only their platform could scratch. This is the heart of the operation, a closed loop of manufactured anxiety and branded relief. They create the disease and position themselves as the sole vendor of the cure. Observe the pattern. It begins not with a notification, but with a void, a quiet moment, a flicker of boredom, a twinge of loneliness, a passing thought about what you might be missing. These are natural human states, fleeting and manageable. But within the architecture of these systems, they are not allowed to pass. They are identified, amplified, and weaponized. The feed is engineered to show you what you lack. It is a highlight reel of other people's lives, curated by algorithms to maximize comparison. It is a torrent of news designed to trigger outrage and fear, because fear bonds you to the source. It is a marketplace of perfect bodies, perfect vacations, perfect political certitudes, all subtly whispering that you are not enough, that your world is insufficient, that you are falling behind. This is the first half of the cycle, the engineered anxiety. They cultivate a low-grade ambient sense of lack, and then, immediately, they offer the solution. The very same platform that created the anxiety presents itself as the relief. That hollow feeling? Scroll. See what your friends are doing. That twinge of social uncertainty? Post something. Seek validation. That fear of the outside world? Refresh the feed. Get the latest update. Stay informed. The anxiety of missing out? The platform is the window to the world you fear missing. The cycle is complete. They make you thirsty, and then they sell you, drop by drop, from their own private well. Your phone is no longer a tool. It is a panic button, and they have wired your nervous system to press it. The vibration in your pocket isn't just a notification. It's a release valve for the pressure they help build. You reach for it not out of desire, but out of a conditioned need for relief from a discomfort the digital environment itself sustains. It is a perfect, self-contained ecosystem of suffering and salve. You are like a patient in a hospital where the air is slowly poisoned, and the only antidote is available at the nurse's station for a price measured in your attention, your data, yourself. This is the ultimate perversion of the dopaminergic pathway we began with. That pathway was meant for seeking real nourishment to address real needs. Now, it is triggered by a manufactured need for a digital placebo. The hit of dopamine you get from a like or a new message isn't a reward for genuine connection. It is a temporary cessation of the anxiety they fostered. It is the relief of an itch they gave you. The pursuit is no longer for a goal, but for the cessation of a pain they designed. You are not running towards something. You are running from a shadow they cast, and the shadow is always there. Because if the anxiety were ever truly cured, the business model would collapse. So the relief must be temporary. The itch must return. The news feed must refresh with new crises. The social validation must fade, requiring new posts. The cycle must continue forever. You are on a treadmill where the machine controls both the speed and your thirst. They don't just sell you distraction. They first sell you the unease that makes distraction necessary. All of this, the hijacked engine, the illusory control, the relentless harvest, the loop of anxiety, does not simply happen around you. It happens to you, to the core of who you are. It reshapes the very architecture of your thought, the rhythm of your patience, and most dangerously, the foundation of your identity. The self is not a fortress. It is a pattern, a narrative, a collection of choices and preferences, and it is under a slow, silent siege. First, they fracture your attention. The constant micro-interruptions, the pings, the banners, the badges, train your mind to live in a state of perpetual alert. It is a conditioning. You become like a sentry on a tower, trained to respond to every flicker in the tree line, unable to sustain a deep watch on the horizon. Your focus, the ability to immerse yourself in a complex task, to follow a sustained line of thought, to simply be present in a moment of silence. This becomes a muscle that atrophies from disuse. The world they build rewards the twitch, not the stare. It prizes reaction over reflection. And soon, your own mind begins to feel unfamiliar, restless, scattered, hungry for the next flicker of stimulus. You lose the capacity for depth, and with it, the ability to solve the problems that require it. Then they reshape your desires from the inside out. The algorithm is not a window. It is a funhouse mirror that learns which distortions you will stare at the longest. It feeds you more of what you engage with, creating a feedback loop of your own, often basest, impulses. You linger on outrage, and your world becomes a theater of anger. You click on conspiracy, and your reality twists into paranoid shapes. You seek shallow entertainment, and your palate is dulled to anything of substance. Your preferences are no longer discovered. They are gradually, imperceptibly assigned to you by a machine, optimizing for engagement. You believe you are choosing your path, but you are following a trail of digital breadcrumbs you yourself dropped for an algorithm that has no concept of your well-being, only your click-through rate. This is how identity is colonized. Your sense of self-worth becomes entangled with the metrics of their platforms. The likes, the shares, the follower count. These are not social gestures. They are quantified validation, a public stock ticker for your social standing. You begin to perform for the algorithm. You curate your life not for experience but for exhibition. You feel a pang of envy not born of genuine connection, but of numerical inferiority. The quiet intrinsic value of a thought, a creation, a moment of genuine connection is eroded, replaced by its external, measurable impact in a system designed to commodify it. You are becoming a signal in their system. Your quirks become data points. Your passions become demographic categories. Your fears become targeting parameters. The rich, chaotic, contradictory tapestry of a human life is flattened into a profile, a user persona, a predictable set of triggers and responses. The you that emerges from this constant shaping pressure is a you optimized for the platform's needs, a you that is perpetually engaged, perpetually slightly dissatisfied, perpetually ready to consume and react. It is a shadow self, cast by the light of a screen. The greatest casualty is your own sovereignty, the ability to make a choice that is truly, freely yours, uninfluenced by a nudging notification, uncorrupted by a curated feed, untethered from the anxiety of missing out, becomes a rare and draining act of rebellion. Your willpower is depleted fighting 1,000 tiny battles against design choices crafted by armies of psychologists and engineers. You are not living your life. You are managing a barrage of engineered influences. They are not just stealing your time, they are editing the manuscript of your mind and calling the revisions progress. Now you know the anatomy of the trap. You have seen the gears, the hijacked reward, the false choices, the harvest, the loop of anxiety, the siege upon the self. Knowledge of a weapon is the first step in developing armor. This is not a call to retreat, to smash your devices and live in a cave. The world is here, the networks are real, but your mind, your attention, your desire, they must become your own again. This is the reclamation. It is a conscious, daily project of resistance, not against technology, but against its deliberate misuse. It is about inserting your own will back into the loop. The most powerful tool you have is understanding that the design seeks frictionlessness. It wants your impulses to flow like water down a smooth channel. Therefore, your counter-strategy is to reintroduce friction, deliberate, conscious friction. Make the path of least resistance the path you design. Change your device to grayscale. It sounds simple. It is a profound disenchantment. These platforms are palaces of color, engineered to trigger emotional response. Remove the color, and you see the architecture for what it is. A grid, a list, a system. The slot machi. Nay loses its lights, the cravings dim. You see the code, not the spell. Turn off every non-essential notification. Every single one. That buzz is not a call. It is a cattle prod. Silence it. Let your phone be a tool you decide to use, not a puppet master that taps your shoulder. Reclaim the right to be uninterrupted. Let the quiet moments exist, unviolated. They are the soil where your own thoughts grow. Audit your algorithms. Be the detective of your own digital life. Regularly and ruthlessly purge your follows, your subscriptions, your feeds. Ask yourself, does this account make me feel informed or enraged? Does this video channel expand my understanding or merely occupy my eyeballs? Do not feed the parts of the algorithm that feed on your worst self. Starve them. Curate for nourishment, not for engagement. This is gardening in a poisoned field. It is slow, deliberate work. Create digital sanctuaries. Designate times and, more importantly, places that are device-free. The dinner table, the first hour of the morning, the bedroom. Build walls where your attention can rest, where your identity is not being parsed by a server farm. These are zones of sovereignty. But this is not just a personal battle. It is a structural one. You must begin to demand and support humane design, technology that serves human flourishing, not just engagement metrics. Tools that have off switches, not just autoplay. Platforms that are transparent about their algorithms, that allow you to see why you are being shown what you are shown. This is a new frontier of ethics. Support the developers, the companies, the creators who are trying to build a web that respects the user, not just exploits them. Vote with your attention, your clicks, and your dollars. Reclaiming your desire is not about asceticism. It is about intentionality. It is about pausing in that space between the trigger and the response, the space they try to erase with autoplay, and asking the oldest question, what do I truly want? Not what the itch demands, not what the feed suggests, not what the anxiety screams for, but what the human being, beneath all the conditioning, needs to thrive. Connection, creation, understanding, rest. They have taken a biological loop and twisted it into a cage. Your task is to retake the loop and make it a tool again, to be the architect of your own attention, to desire not because you were triggered but because you chose. The night is darkest just before the dawn. But the dawn is not a time, it is a decision. The choice is not to log off. The choice is to wake up.